Hello and welcome.
Hi, welcome.
Are you saying that to me?
I'm reiterating.
Oh, because welcome to you.
Welcome to you, Karen. Welcome
Thank you.
to everyone to My Favorite Murder, the podcast.
This is a podcast where we talk about true crime, and everything else under the sun.
Everything we can even imagine.
Oh my God, we're getting into a lot of religious stuff lately. Spirituality.
I'm more spiritual than religious. I'm not religious, but I'm more spiritual. No, but I hear people saying that on dates behind me at restaurants all the time, and I just want to punch them in the face.
I would love to sit behind a date where they were like, I am strictly religious and I think spirituality is wrong.
Yeah.
I'm here for the rules and the books, and I don't care about the soul or the feeling.
I would be relieved to hear that. Nice. In LA, you'll never hear that in LA.
I feel like in LA, I witness so many Tinder dates or like coffee meetups.
Yeah.
And I get so involved.
Oh, like how?
Well, I'm a humongous eavesdropper.
Totally.
Well, I'll fucking eavesdrop on anybody.
Me too. Well, how can you not? Like, it's not eavesdropping. It's listening to the conversation going on. That is going on way too loudly.
Always.
Near
because
you.
It's a city full of actors.
Right.
And everybody thinks they should be heard.
Right.
But then they're talking about stuff
that they think is unique and interesting. Like us, for example, on this podcast right now. Like true crime.
Why talk about it if you're not going to record it?
Like this murder.
You know what makes me? It's because I have a problem with vulnerability. So when two people are sitting in front of each other, trying to present themselves as here's my most interesting, it makes me want to vomit into the closest garbage can for 7 hours.
I'm sorry. The garbage can, because there's also a composting can and there's also a recycling, and there's also the coffee place I go to has an area to put your like coffee sleeve in to recycle the sleeve.
Oh, okay.
Which I think has to be definitely against health codes, but I do it anyways.
Well, my vomit would definitely go into composting.
Sure.
Because that's just going to churn up all that
don't
mulch.
Eat plastic bottles.
The acid is going to break down all of those eggshells.
Because every place you go into here has 3 bins, and you sit there and stare at them, and I'm going on a tirade. Go on.
Three bins, 17 actors. Everybody's trying to hook up.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And then if you want to reuse a coffee sleeve, wait, now, is that voluntary, or are they just going to reuse those coffee sleeves and you don't know about it as the person buying what you think is a new coffee with a new sleeve?
I bet you think it's new and it's not new.
You think that's true?
Ugh, with their dirty fingers all over
could
it?
that be? No.
I'd rather burn my fingers.
Your fingers are where you put your fingers everywhere.
I put my fingers everywhere.
Do you know? Yeah,
you know that about me.
I'm confronting you. That's how I meant that sentence. God
You've been
damn
on tour
you.
with me.
I meant to
seen
say
me in airports.
Stop putting your fingers everywhere.
Oh shit. Okay. All right.
Speaking of which, and I'm sorry for the segue. Someone started a hashtag hot for holes, and it is wrong. It's filthy. It's making us look bad.
Say what they
and
mean,
it
though.
Is the funniest thing I've ever
Hot
seen.
for holes is obviously our love of our lives.
Paul Holes,
the
criminologist who solved the Golden State Killer among many people.
But he would defer. Oh no, I didn't do anything.
He did.
You know what I mean? Someone made it looks like a science project poster board thing of just photos of him, cut out photos of him all over it. I believe
you can find that under the hashtag hot for holes.
I bet you fucking can.
He's wearing all different kinds of Oakley blades and all different sun settings.
But someone else made a really good point. They posted a photo of him. They saw him in an old episodes of like Forensic Files and said, he's aged well because he doesn't look so hot as a young man. And
bullshit.
I agree. He looked. I would have fucking punched his puka shell wearing face in the fucking face. Like he just didn't look that hot.
You're not into early Paul Holes?
No, I'm into later stages. Like he looks like he's been hanging out on what's the island with the tequila with the guy who sings in
Hawaii?
No,
Margaritaville? The island?
Yes, no. The one
Stevens Island, Margaritaville.
Stevens Island. The one with the
Cabo.
Yes, with
I
the
don't
tequila.
think that's an island. We got to go and tour to Mexico.
Edit this out.
Yes, he definitely has vacationed along Baja, California.
And like the kind of pre-skin cancer look.
Yes.
Now that he's got like withered a little.
But here I have to say, first of all, I was talking to my sister on the phone this morning, and she called Paul Holes the Indiana Jones of criminology. And I couldn't stop laughing. And she goes, I'm not kidding. I wrote "I love you" on my eyelids as I was watching this interview, because he gave some hour-long interview on KTVU, which is our Channel 2, our home station in Petaluma, which we grew up watching. There's only one too. And so she
amazing.
Called me this morning to give me basically the lowdown.
That is the best description of anyone I've ever heard in my life.
Am I right?
Yes. It's Laura
A+.
did it. Laura. A+.
Also, it's funny because Laura is not interested in true crime whatsoever. She's just taking this ride with us.
Love it.
But so she gets into it because she knows we go crazy.
My sister too. I don't think she gives two shits, but she's happy that I'm finally getting my need for attention met, so she doesn't have to deal with
we really are
shitty guys anymore. Yeah.
Have you ever wanted more attention in your life? Oh my God. Anyway, salute to Paul Holes.
Yeah. Speaking of what? I don't know. Pick one. DNA?
Yeah, go DNA.
Okay, so Stephen just sent us, as we walked in to class, that's what I'm calling this today, a link of, so people are losing their shit because it comes out that they found the Golden State Killer by getting the familial DNA off some fucking person that was like, I want to know what race I am, from fucking wherever.
Just tell yourself you're Dutch Spanish.
Yeah, whatever you think you are. I learned this by submitting my DNA to 23andMe. You're whatever you think you are.
Oh, okay.
I'm so fucking Eastern European Jewish that I am basically inbred. There's nothing else about me.
Your tribe kept it tight.
I was so bummed because I was like, well, I have, my family has dark hair. Maybe we are a little bit something cool. No. I mean, not that it's not cool, but just a little mix.
You guys did a great job, though, as a tribe.
Thank you.
You kept it alive.
Uh-huh.
You kept that hair good.
Yep.
Great features.
We kept it in the family. There's just 100%. So some fucking person was like, I want
claiming to be inbred.
What else is there? So someone was like, what am I? And they sent their DNA in.
Yep.
To a half-rate fucking company that didn't have the protection that 23andMe has and all these other, and Ancestry.com has, that are like, we won't give your fucking DNA away.
Well, they actually said, though, I read an article where they had in their disclaimer, it said, if you were afraid you may have committed a crime or you don't want to be searched, we do not keep these DNA profiles out of that. So don't submit your, and that's always been their customer service thing.
It really annoyed me that last week, so I took myself off Twitter because I just couldn't handle it anymore. But so the last shit I saw was what does this mean for our public safety? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, it wasn't a big fucking company. If it's not a big deal, it's not everyone. Calm fucking down, everyone. Let's talk about this murderer and what he did instead. That would be great. So, but they're going to run Zodiac's, Stephen told us, DNA through this company.
Yes.
That'll be fun.
No, I saw that article. They said they aren't saying what company they're running it
good.
through.
Okay, because I was like, someone's going to kill them. Some old man is about to kill himself tonight.
Right.
When he sees that.
Well, let's keep our eye out for any. How old would he be now? In his late 90s? I mean, that would be exciting. It would be very cool. I agree with the people who are worried about there have to be restrictions or there has to be privacy. If you are spitting on a piece of cotton and sending it to some company because you want to find out just how Dutch you are, fuck you. You're on it. Then you're in the mix. You're in the game.
It's too late. You're done.
And also, if they have to have probable cause. Our boy, Paul Holes, lined it up so that it's this thing, if they were going to do it and get the answer from in a certain way. And I understand how outsiders don't trust this. I trust Paul Holes. He did it by the book because they don't want it to fall apart in court.
Well, Sally. Yeah, exactly. And Sally Holes. Oh my God.
Who's Sally Holes?
I was going to say that Sally in HR at whatever fucking DNA company who Paul Holes came up to her and was like, I'm going to tell you why you're going to do this. I need this. And she was just like, I love you. There was no chance.
I'd love to help
And then she wrote Mrs. Sally Holes over and over again. That's what I was going to say.
My favorite thing is so many people are now writing dirty jokes. Like, I got one the other day where I was like, what? I thought I was being trolled, where it was like, I'd like to investigate some of these holes, where I'm like, oh, I get it. People are really experimenting with their blue comedy with this specific combination of nouns.
Well, all we need to do is add him to Karen's list of men she loves with last names that are nouns.
Yep. It's just, we've got Jimmy Buttons. We've got Paul Onions. Now we've got Mr. Holes.
There's one other one. Someone made a really great, Jackets.
But Jackets was a bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't love that guy.
Okay. Well, he's one of yours. He's still one of yours.
He is one of characters in my universe, but he's not canon. What I was going to talk about is yesterday in Los Angeles, we had a high-speed chase.
Right. I didn't see that.
With a Winnebago. And it was
Explain that to me. How high speed is this? What is high speed definition?
Well, think about it. In LA, you can't fucking get anywhere over 35 miles an hour. So there was a Winnebago going 55 up. I think it did a 134 170 transition.
Oh, you can't do that on more than 10 miles an hour the whole time.
Well, this thing was flying up the freeway. I saw Brandy Posey, our friend from the great podcast Lady to Lady. She tweeted it. We've got a live one, and then posted the link. And I was at the mall, and I pulled out my earbuds, sat down, and watched the live feed at the mall, because I was like, what?
I did not know you were that kind of girl.
I love a high speed chase.
And they worry me. I don't like them. They worry me.
They're worrisome. That's part of what I love. I can't take my eyes off it. And Steve and I were just talking about they happen in LA a lot. Yeah. Because we've got a lot of freeways and a lot of action. But it turned out, so my friend Dan Telfer, who's also a comic.
So I like him on Twitter.
He's hilarious.
A lot.
He's a great writer. He used to work on At Midnight, and he's just cool. And he's listened to us from the beginning.
Thank you, Dan.
And supported. So anyway, he got in.
What if he was unsupportive, though?
He's listened to us, highly critical of most of what we do.
Hates us.
No, he was in mine and Brandy's conversation, and then at one point sent the follow-up article about what had happened. And it's very dark, because it's this guy who was a registered sex offender for having sex with children under the age of 14.
Stop it.
And he was in that Winnebago with his 3-year-old son and 11-month-old daughter. They were from, I want to say they were from Washington State or Oregon State, and they were down in San Diego, I believe, and something happened, and he took off with the kids.
Dude.
And he was on the phone with his mother and his wife the whole time. And he ended up getting arrested. The kids are safe.
He's a pedophile and he has a mother and a wife? That's not fair.
I mean, some people, it's just about charisma. I think it's like confidence. If you just go into situations, you're like, I'm not the worst person that's also a sex offender. Yeah. And you're just like, hey, and of course, if you triangulate and you neg people, you can get anyone you want.
People believe what you put out there. So oh, Jesus.
It's about the energy. And again, it's about spirituality.
Over religion.
At all times. Sorry. Can I do a sidebar?
Absolutely.
From that story. I had just gotten a coffee at Starbucks in the mall. And as I was ordering my coffee, the girl I was talking to, I saw her writing, in Starbucks, they write your order on the dirty sleeve.
Can I say before you say anything, I know the other side of this story because she posted it on Facebook.
Oh, then I was going to tell you the other side of the story, because my friend Vicky, as I was shopping, sent me what she posted.
Oh, okay. So you're in Starbucks. You see a chick writing a thing down on the dirty sleeve.
I see her, and I'm like giving my order, which is a little bit confusing.
What is it?
It's a double tall 1 pump mocha.
Okay.
So it's people are always like, what? But it's like they put too much.
Double.
If it's that small, they put too much.
You want a double. You want it not that big because you don't want that much milk, and you want only 1 pump of mocha, please.
Just a suggestion of mocha. Don't drown me.
Yeah.
So she's writing it down, but I see that she does all the M and 1 and all. And then I see her write SSD. Then she does a weird thing and then throws it away. And I was about to go, wait, were you going to, and I was going to do the funny confrontation thing. Yeah. But then I don't know, something else happened. There's there was a lot happening.
Yeah.
So I didn't confront her. I thought it'd be funny, but there was a bunch of people in line, whatever. Then, so in her new one, she just rewrites the order again and sends it. Then the order goes through. Her boss, I'm standing over there waiting, and then her boss, or the person making it, and I found out it was her boss after, goes, "Do you want whipped cream on this?" And I said, "No, thanks." At which the person who was ringing me up already asked, and I said no, but she didn't remember to put it on the second sleeve. So then she gets yelled at for not putting it on the sleeve. And I was about to go, but didn't do it. I was about to go, "Oh no, she asked me. She did ask me that." But then I was like, I can't get involved. Then high speed chase, I'm drawn away. Then my friend Vicky Ernst, who lives in New York, that was the funniest part, and was far away from me. She sends me a text that goes, "I don't understand what your life is now." And then it's the Facebook post from Rachel.
What does it say?
She says, "I normally don't get rattled when a celebrity comes to Starbucks, but it's LA and
brag.
It happens."
No brag, no brag.
No brag. Yeah, now reading this sounds stupid, but she basically said, "I lost my mind on the inside. My hands were shaking." That's not true. I didn't see any hand shaking. "I was so nervous, tried to sneak an SSD GM on the cup, but couldn't. Worst of all, my supervisor chastised me in front of her." Embarrassment level 10,000. Well, that was my Tuesday. Maybe next time I'll be cooler. Rachel, you couldn't have been cooler. There was no indication on your face or anywhere that you knew who I was or anything, to the point where when I saw you starting to write SSD, I didn't want to be the asshole who was like, "Are you writing my thing?" So I just didn't say anything. That's how cool you were. So don't worry about it. You'll be able to handle it.
Yeah. Next time, just give Karen a free coffee and it'll be fine.
I always appreciate people who are just like I'm not reacting to you whatsoever. And thank you for calling me a celebrity. What a joy, Rachel. What a joy.
Between that and the high speed chase. Fuck.
I mean, I had a power day at the mall.
Power day.
Can
I do a couple power tour quickies?
Please.
So we're leaving for fucking Europe on Saturday. I'm losing my mind.
I'm so stressed out.
It's very stressful. I cannot wait to be on that plane. I can't wait to be in the airport. Like, that's how excited I am about it. I can't wait to be in a fucking germ-ridden, disgusting fucking airport. That's how fucking stoked I am.
It's going to be so fun. I'm trying to get all my pre-stress out now so we can just have the best time.
Me too. It's going to be great. Okay, there's Oslo, you guys, May 9th. We need to see you there if you want to come. I don't know. Come if you want. I'm not trying to be like, you have to come.
What's the thing that would make a Norwegian, we're going to be giving away free smelt.
Every cocktail comes with a free shot of smelt.
You can have herring. Free. As much herring. You can bring it and you can have it.
And then we just lose half the ticket sales. Just now. They all get returned.
They're like, "Fuck you, you racist asshole."
Amsterdam those are the two shows that aren't sold out. So Amsterdam on the 16th. That's going to be a good show because we're going to have had 2 days to chill the fuck out. So like we're going to be on point.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like we're going to have some fucking stories about tulips and buildings and houses.
And getting so stoned that we laid on the ground.
Right.
Just kidding.
And then for our tour, for our fall tour coming up in the U.S., it's fucking like almost completely sold out, except for Portland on October 18th. It's my sister's birthday. Come celebrate my sister's birthday.
It's important.
She won't be there.
Lee.
And then Los Angeles. Okay, here's the thing. We're doing a show on Halloween at the Microsoft Theater, and it's kind of like our biggest deal show we've ever done because it's the most seats we've ever had. And then they can also keep opening up the theater so we can sell out more tickets. It's kind of a big scary deal, and I think our dude said that it's going to be like the biggest live show podcast ever ever. So that's scary and big. We want to make sure people come. They've already opened up one wing.
Live podcast
ever, Karen.
There's going to be so much sitting.
There's going to be a lot of, I hope, costumes. You and I need to figure out what the fuck we're going to go as.
It's Halloween.
Someone made a really good point of that, like, okay, but parents can't go now because it's Halloween.
Just kidding.
So just like if your kids are young enough, they won't even remember Halloween. It's fine.
I mean, I have friends. My friend Paul Danke, when I told him about it, and he was like, will you put me on that list? And I was like, of course. And I'm like, but you have 2 young daughters. And he goes, I don't give a shit. That's what I'm looking for in a person.
Those are our people.
Yeah,
absolutely. So fucking Halloween in Los Angeles. It's going to be at LA Live, like at the Microsoft Theater, where we just saw Shenyang. It's gonna be, we'll meet you at the Yard House, or we'll meet you at fucking, what, is there a fucking Margaritaville there? I don't know. Maybe there will be by then. We'll meet you there. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be crazy. And then Atlanta on November 9th. That's not sold out either, so that's an added show.
Okay. Yeah, you have 6 months to sell that show out.
It's almost sold out, so get your fucking tickets.
Thanks, and also just thanks everybody. We know that this ticket thing has been crazy, and some people have been, there's been a lot of feelings, and there's been a lot of fits and starts. We want you to know we are so thrilled that you care.
Yeah.
And it means the world to us. We go out to all these cities, and it's a lot of cities for us. I know it's not enough, but it is a lot of cities for us.
It is.
And the idea that so many people want to come and watch us do this bullshit is very fun. And we really, really are grateful for all that you go through.
We're very lucky. We can't believe it. Also, if you're in the fan cult, when we leave for Europe next week, we're going to start posting exclusive videos from the tour. We cannot promise quality.
No.
But we will make them.
I think maybe that part of the allure will be we are going to look horrible. It's going to be shot badly, but you're going to see Europe through the lens of our experience. It's going to be real. And we want to bring you with us in the lo-fi way that we do everything.
Sure. It'll be a learning curve for everyone.
That's right.
It'll be fun. If you're a part of the fan cult, look out for those videos.
Yeah, I think we'll try to have fun with it.
And if you're not, you can go to myfavoritemurder.com and join, and you get free shit with it. It's cool.
That's right.
Okay.
I was just going to say a quick corrections corner.
Oh, great.
I made fun of the posting that was on the Nextdoor app. Lots of responses about the Nextdoor app.
Yeah.
Hilarious. I mean, there is so much crazy, hilarious stuff on there. People posted some really funny stuff. I made fun of somebody for posting raccoon in the daytime. We immediately got a response. Again, I'm going to get better about writing people's names down, but day of, for a second, I thought Stephen was holding up a cue card that gave me the person's name. Somebody immediately responded, if you see a raccoon in the day, they probably have rabies.
I love that and then I will go ahead and say, call the non-emergency police number, not 911.
No, do not call 911 if you see a day raccoon, but do not approach a day raccoon.
You almost gave people rabies, Karen.
If you got rabies, we want to hear about it. It's like Maury Povich. Do you have rabies and your boyfriend cheated on you?
Eva, if they're in the fan cult, is there a forum of what we've done, how we've done you wrong?
Yes.
We want to know.
I think that does exist, actually.
Does it? Oh, shit.
Inspired by mid-century modern and Scandinavian simplicity, Article is an online-only furniture company that offers beautiful, awesome furniture.
Why online only? Because price matters.
Not having retail stores means that Article doesn't have expensive rents to pay every month and can pass those savings on to you.
Article is serious about shipping. They'll send your entire order almost anywhere in the USA or Canada for a flat rate of $49.
And in-stock items can be expected in 2 weeks or less.
Listen, I have a beautiful bench with all my shoes in it and a lovely credenza, and Elvis has barfed on both of them, and it cleans up real easy.
Couldn't be better.
I mean, what kind of...
And now, Article's special offer of $50 off for your first order of $100 or more has extended until the end of June.
Just go to article.com/murder and your discount will be applied to your purchase.
That's article.com/murder for $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. Goodbye.
Karen?
Yes.
Glasses should be viewed as a fashion accessory, right?
Yep.
But they should not cost as much as a plane ticket or a new iPhone, right?
Right.
Well, that's why I love that Warby Parker has glasses starting at $95, including prescription lenses. Lenses include anti-glare and anti-scratch coatings.
And for every pair you buy, a pair is distributed to someone in need.
Warby Parker makes buying glasses online easy and risk-free. Their home try-on program allows you to order 5 pairs of glasses, okay? Shipped directly to your door, and then you try them on. You could take selfies, all this crap, get your friends to give you feedback.
You can try on the frames for 5 days before sending them back using a free prepaid return shipping label with no obligation to purchase. It's 100% free.
I have to go ahead and give props to those anti-scratch coatings because I just jam I am just one of those people who doesn't take care of anything. Just jam them in my purse and don't even think twice about it, and they never get scratched, which is great.
That's the greatest.
And there's my purse is just full of razor blades. So
head to warbyparker.com/MFM to order your free home try-ons today. Choose the 5 frames you'd like to try on, mail the frames back, choose your favorite pair, and then have your prescription added. Warby Parker makes your experience completely risk-free, and there's free shipping all around.
Visit warbyparker.com/MFM to begin your free home try-on experience.
And if you have iPhone X, make sure you download Warby Parker's app, and then you can use their brand new Find Your Fit feature. Find Your Fit uses the iPhone X's true depth camera to map and measure key facial features. Using these measurements, Find Your Fit recommends approximately 12 Warby Parker frames that are likely to best fit your face. And this process is seamless and only takes a few seconds.
That's warbyparker.com/MFM. Goodbye.
I think that's all my current business.
I got nothing. Should we get the fuck out of here?
I got my hair dyed. I'm so excited. I got my hair dyed days before we leave on this trip so that I won't have gray roots during.
It looks great.
Thank you. I finally got the timing down. It's really hard. I get gray roots like every 3 weeks. So I have to like be on it.
That sucks. I don't know how to.
It wasn't a rich area.
Good thing we're now being sponsored actually literally by a hair color company.
I know.
I'm fucking stoked. This is not a commercial. See how there's no music behind it? This is not a commercial.
And we're not saying the name.
No, and no, this isn't free. Steven, who goes first?
Well, last week was the Golden State Killer, but then the week before, Karen went first.
Okay.
All right.
You want a do-over or you want me to go first? I want to go first.
You go first.
Okay, great. All right, let me take a sip of my canned rosé.
Is that what that is?
It's a fucking canned rosé.
I would have thought that was a Diet Coke, so I don't have my glasses on.
You can be a secret alcoholic this way.
Love it.
All right.
How is that canned rosé?
It's all right. They're not paying us, so I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Perfect.
You can get it at Trader Joe's. All right. This is one that I hope you didn't do at a live show.
Well, let's find out.
This is the lipstick killer, William Hirons. What's that face?
I'm trying to remember.
I don't think you did. Okay, great.
She answers her own question. Okay, great. It's exactly how I didn't want it.
You did a lip bitey thing of like it would look like I have something bad to tell you. You know.
But here's how I can't tell anymore, because we've gone to a bunch of different cities.
Yeah,
and we've looked up all these people.
Yeah.
And we've researched these people and then chosen not to do them.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
So
we didn't do it. I don't think we did it.
Okay, cool.
And then there was a time before Steven was with us that we did a couple Chicago shows. So I can't ask Steven because he wouldn't know. Fuck it.
Fuck it all.
Once our fucking biography comes out, then we'll...
Well, and also, William Hirons is a super famous... Is that the correct pronunciation?
Hirons.
I've heard of him.
And you've seen a million photos of this too.
Okay.
He looks... They're old photos of him. He looks scary and you're like, oh, that guy's a murderer because you've seen his photo a million times.
Oh.
Is he? We don't know. Let's find out. Here we go.
Right.
All right. So the lipstick murders started in Chicago just after the end of World War II. So World War II is over. Everyone's fucking stoked. It's like a great time in America. All this bullshit. So the first murder took place on June 5th, 1945. 43-year-old Josephine Ross is found dead in her apartment by her daughter. Her apartment's close to Wrigley Field in Chicago, obviously. Josephine had been repeatedly stabbed, and then her body had been washed by the killer, and all her wounds, this is fucking weird, had been covered with tape.
No.
So each of her stab wounds, so if someone was like, oh fuck, washes her, like that sounds like some serial killer shit, right?
Yes.
Washes her, covers each wound with tape, and then places her back into bed. Her head had also been wrapped with one of her skirts, almost like can't look at your face time. But this is a time when they didn't have, criminal profiling, or like serial killer wasn't even a term yet.
Right.
So and she had been washed, but the investigators still found dark, like hair clutched in her hand. Like she had ripped his fucking hair out of his head as he attacked her. The blood spattered apartment, it had been ransacked. But nothing was missing, and police found no fingerprints and no obvious motive, and they assumed that she had surprised an intruder, but nothing had been stolen. So I don't know about that. Josephine's murder at the time didn't even make the front page news. And at the time there were 5 big Chicago papers led by the Chicago Tribune, and they all competed for circulation, especially post-war when less shit was going on. But it didn't even make the front page. About 6 months later, on December...
Crazy.
I know, right?
Yeah, that's super crazy. Also, just the detail alone of the tape.
The tape.
If that was in the newspaper, a million people would go crazy about that. Yeah.
Nope.
Nuts.
About 6 months later, on December 10th, 1945, a 32-year-old woman, she's a stenographer and she's a former Navy WAVE, forgot to look that up, who had served during World War II. Her name is Frances Brown. She's found slumped in her bathtub in her apartment at the Pine Grove Hotel in Chicago. She had been shot in the head, and this is horrible. A bread knife had been driven sideways through her neck.
Whoa.
With such force that the blade had emerged on the other side.
Whoa.
I know. She was nude, and just like Josephine, she had been washed after being murdered, but he left her at the side of the bathtub for some reason. And her head was wrapped in towels.
Ooh.
So it was like kind of a similar thing. And again, the apartment had been wiped clean of fingerprints, but this time someone had left a message on the wall of the apartment written in lipstick. And it said in like crazy person writing, it said, "For heaven's sake, catch me before I kill more. I cannot control myself." Do you want to see the photo?
Yes, please.
Okay, here you go. We'll put it up on our
This is like,
Instagram.
I love when any story parallels the movie Seven.
Oh yeah, it's exactly like that. I didn't even think about that. Okay, it's like written like a crazy person.
Okay.
And we'll put it up on Twitter and all the places.
You know why? Can I just say?
Yeah, because
as a handwriting analyst,
expert, yeah,
it's combining capital letters, lowercase letters, and cursive.
Ooh, the cursive part's creepy.
Cursive L's in the middle of like a regular block.
Yeah.
Everything about this says, I don't know what the fuck is going on from second to second.
Right. Or am I trying to make it look like I don't know what I'm doing from second to second?
Oh, I guess that's true, but it's very effective.
It is.
I don't like a loose cursive L is very unnerving.
Right. And is it some of the letters like fucking Toys R Us style, like backward and forward too? You know what I mean? RS.
Like corn style backwards to upset you?
Corn, yes.
For heaven's sake. Yeah.
Read it, because it's like...
For heaven's sake, curly QC, catch me. So the C is like basically a spiral.
It almost looks like a lowercase cursive E.
Yes, that's exactly right. Catch me. B4 capital B capital F, everything else lowercase. I kill is in unconnected cursive. Yeah.
It's all crazy. It's written in fucking lipstick. And then the press then goes fucking crazy for it.
Also no punctuation.
And the other thing about this is that because at the time women used the term for heaven's sake a lot, they thought it might be a woman who done this.
Oh.
Which everyone was like, what are you fucking talking about?
That's some poor theorizing.
Yeah, everyone now is like, what the fuck? Okay. So this note earned the killer the name the Lipstick Killer by the media, of course, who are now obsessed with it because they have a catchy name and 2 murders that are supposedly linked. 4 weeks later, all right, so they're going crazy. They're like, who the fuck is this killer? We don't know. And at the time, it was kind of an innocent era, and so people are doing the whole locking their doors for the first time thing. Then 4 weeks later, At about 7:30 in the morning of January 7th, 1946, in a wealthy section in the north side of Chicago called Edgewater, it was discovered that 6-year-old Suzanne Degnan was missing from her first floor bedroom. Whoa.
Did you say 6-year-old?
So she's this little fucking sweet little blonde baby girl, young thing, is missing. Her window is open and a ladder is placed underneath it outside. So like someone had climbed in and taken her. When they search her room, police find a crumpled note. And this is another fucking psychotically written thing that I have a photo for you. The note says, tells the family to prepare $20,000 ransom, not to notify the police or FBI, and to wait for a word from the kidnapper. But they didn't find it until after. So look at that fucking psychotic note.
Oh, no.
It's similarly written, right?
Yes. It's got the curly Q E's. But also...
But the E's are curly. I mean, it's an E, not a C. Like, I looked at them and I tried so hard to, like, tell if they were connected or not.
Ooh, that police C is not the same.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same.
But it's still capitals and lowercase.
It is.
Yeah.
It's still a fucking crazy note.
But not like Bills, the L's in Bills are not cursive. They're not blending the cursive.
To me, that note seems like it was written by someone uneducated, and the lipstick killer one looks like it was someone trying to seem crazy. Mm-hmm. So that's just my bullshit. Yeah, this looks like someone who doesn't write well.
Yes, and it doesn't look planned because it's so sloppy.
It's really sloppy.
It looks
messy.
like it was hard to write. Yeah.
Right, and words are misspelled too, which the other one isn't. Okay, so they find that note, and then on the reverse side is written, "Burn this for her safety." Right. Okay. So by the evening of her disappearance, though, they received some hang-up calls about ransom, but they never like go through and they never give details. And by that evening, police receive an anonymous phone call suggesting the police look in the sewers near the Degnan residence. Okay, this gets fucked up. Ready?
Yes.
Only a block away from the Degnan home, they find the severed head of little Suzanne Degnan in a storm-drained sewer.
Jesus Christ.
I know. This is 1946. Like, shit like this does not happen.
This is Chicago?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so awful. Then they find Suzanne's right leg in a catch basin. They find her torso in another storm drain and her left leg in another drain. Each piece is found further and further away from the home, like the person was just hiding them along the fucking way. And all the drains had cast iron manhole covers that weighed at least 110 pounds each.
Whoa.
Yeah. Is that heavy? That's heavy, right?
110 pounds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's like picking up a 5th grader.
Okay. I can bench like pretty,
You could bench like a 2nd grader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awful. I'm sorry. The whole fucking city goes crazy. This does not happen. Little girls like this, like adults, people can deal with it. It's not even front page news.
Well, also this is the second you said this part, I think I'm positive I've read this, but when it comes to something like when the details are that bad and gory, it's hard for us to do those at live shows because it's just so awful. That's
why I was like, I bet we didn't do this because I would remember us talking about this.
Yeah.
Because it's so quiet and sad and horrifying.
Yeah. And it just like, you're right. It was that time where because things were so, I mean, I feel like we are experiencing this societally, not to get too broad about it, but these days we all know everything.
We're desensitized.
Yeah. And we're in it. We're in the mix, which I think is part of the reason this kind of true crime thing is like kicking up in the last 10 years so strongly is because it's like basically going, I'm not going to pretend anymore. This is real and it's happening and I want to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
But back then this was like the war is over, buy a car, buy a house, get a wife, have 2 kids.
Totally.
Be white.
You can be whatever you want. Yeah.
If you're white. And so it's that, and everybody's kind of locked and focused on that and not letting go of it. So this is a real aberration.
And it's also the time, and I think you can't tell this story without making that a big part of it, what you just said. And also that, it was of course the time, even in fucking Chicago, where children just walked around and were out all night, or not all night, out all day, did whatever they wanted. There was, partying and
throwing dice in alleys.
Right. Yeah, but there was a lack of supervision because there wasn't a need for supervision because it was a safer world.
Supposedly
a safer world.
Exactly.
And it was, though. But, then something like this happens and it just changes the fucking landscape.
People can't tell themselves that lie anymore.
Right.
Essentially is what it is.
Right.
And worst possible way to do it.
Exactly. So they search an apartment building near the location where Suzanne's head was found, and they uncover somehow, this is fucking crazy that they found this to me, but whatever, a basement laundry room. And in there are tubs, because it was like, I was like, well, why are there 4 tubs in there? It's like, oh no, they didn't have washing machines.
Right.
It was a tub is the laundry room.
Yes.
Oh God. They find 4 tubs, and in the drains, they find blood.
Oh no.
So they think that Suzanne had been dismembered there. The press began to refer to this as the murder room. And that day, Chicago Mayor Edward Kelly also receives a note, and it says, "This is to tell you how sorry I am not get old Dignan instead of his girl." So not to kill the dad instead of Suzanne. Like, I'd rather have killed the dad.
Oh.
Roosevelt and the OPA made their own laws. Why shouldn't I? And a lot more. So this is what this means. At the time, Chicago was home to the largest stockyards in the nation of meat animals and shit.
Yep.
Meat packing.
Stockyards is all about steer.
There you go.
Yep.
I'm from Orange County. Okay.
Yeah.
There was a nationwide meat packer strike going on at the time, and the Office of Price Administration, so the OPA, was their enemy. That's who they were fucking striking against.
Shit.
Suzanne Dignan's father was a senior executive with the Wartime Meat Regulation Board and had just recently, and so he was part of the OPA. And just recently, another OPA executive had received threats against his children.
Fuck.
Yeah. Also, a man involved with the black market meat, which sounds just horrifying.
I mean, no, but if you marinate it just right, you can barely taste.
It's good for your intestines. You want to really put some meat on your chest.
Old rotten meat that's been sitting out.
Yeah. So a man involved with black market meat. So basically a fucking, line crosser. What do they call them? Strike breaker? Line crosser? Scab. Had recently been murdered by decapitation.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So police consider the possibility that Suzanne's killer was a meat packer, obviously. Seems to make sense.
I mean, sure.
About the dismemberment, the coroner's expert said, quote, "Not even the average doctor could be as skillful with the dismemberment. There weren't any hacking marks, that sort of thing." And then he said, it had to be a meat cutter. Like, everyone in town and in this time of period is like stirring some shit up without facts. Like, everyone's fucking doing it, including, especially the media.
Well, again, I feel like the time that existed before the internet existed, when you could immediately fact check, that it was just a glorious time for us liars, where you could just kind of say whatever. No one could check it. And if you were a person that was like talking to the media, so you're the mayor, you're somebody high in power, nobody would check it. Yeah. There was so much good faith.
And the media and this is the time when the media and the police were fucking besties. So the cops would want to like get some shit out to be like, we need to catch this person. Here's some information.
Yeah.
That could also not be true.
Right.
And it would be printed. Right. So it was just a lot of bullshit. So saying that, whatever.
Also the perfect setup for like, it's a meat packer.
See, they're the bad guys.
They're you mean the working class guy? The people that don't have a lot of money?
They're striking so that they could not work fucking 7 hour days. Nope. 7 days a week.
Yeah. Yes.
Isn't that what they did? Okay. So, all right. So then, with no direct evidence, and this is a time before Miranda rights existed, too.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
They're that recent?
Yeah, I think so.
Shit. Okay.
We should find out about that.
Yeah.
Okay. With no direct evidence, police were like, you know what? Okay, the janitor at the building where Suzanne lived, let's fucking get his wife to pressure him into confessing. Oh. He's a 65-year-old man named Hector Verberg. Verberg. She's like, implicate your husband. And she's like, fuck no. What are you talking about? Still, the police told the press that this is the man. Like, the police kept, or the press kept being like, we got our guy. We got our guy. He's held for 48 hours of questioning, during which time he's beaten severely and had to spend 10 days in the hospital afterwards.
Oh, shit.
He said that any more and he would have confessed to anything. So it's later determined that he is actually a Belgian immigrant, so he couldn't even write English well enough to have written the ransom note. He sues the Chicago Police Department for $15,000 at that time. Wow. $15,000, and he's awarded $20,000.
Oh,
They're like, no, you're going to get even more.
The people have spoken.
Yeah, so this is how poorly this investigation is going. A month after Suzanne's body parts had been found, and after she had been buried, then her arms are found by sewer workers. So her body is buried without her arms. It's not a month until they find them.
Horrible.
How horrible is that? By April, 370 suspects had been questioned and cleared, and the press is starting to criticize the police's ability to catch Suzanne's killer. So they're
turning on each other.
Right. And they're like, they've got the heat on them. Investigators say that they had found 2 partial fingerprints on the ransom note and 1 smudged fingerprint on the doorknob at the second crime scene, and that experts matched the handwriting and fingerprint. They linked everything together so that the murders of the 2 women who are so different in every way to the kidnapping and murder of Suzanne are linked. They say that they're all linked.
Yeah.
Which seems impossible to me.
It's almost just like, these are the 3 most upsetting things that have happened in the city recently.
Right. We have a monster.
Yeah.
This sells papers.
We're going to take care of everything at once.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nice idea.
Right. And it's like, it's weird evidence. Even if there were like, the experts say that the handwriting matches, it's like, that's clearly bunk science. We fucking know that now. And that's circumstantial evidence. It's not true evidence. Anyways. In late June of 1946, police questioned this fucking creepy ass dude named Richard Russell Thomas. He was a nurse at the time of the investigation.
No judgment on male nurses.
No. But he has medical knowledge, so he could dismember.
Yeah.
At the time here's judgment time. At the time of the investigation, he's imprisoned in Phoenix for molesting one of his own daughters. So judgment.
So full judgment.
Full judgment
from now on.
But he was in Chicago at the time of Suzanne's murder. And a handwriting expert, again, says there's great similarities between Thomas's handwriting and the ransom note, and that many of the phrases that was used in the ransom note, this dude, Richard Thomas, had used previously in an extortion note years earlier in an attempted kidnapping.
Oh.
So he fucking had tried to do it before and has similar phrases and writing.
He pulled down his crime file and
Copy,
he was like,
paste.
what's my other hand copy, hand paste?
Right. He pulls out his like pre-computer, font, murderer, serial killer font.
That's right.
Oh, and he had medical training as a nurse. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, and then during questioning by Chicago police, he totally admits to killing Suzanne.
Oh.
But I don't know about this guy. Anyways.
Well, because we do know that the other guy got beaten for hours and was in the hospital.
Exactly.
So it could have been just one of those situations.
Right. Grain of salt. So they think they have their guy. That is until authorities get a new suspect reported to the paper the same day that this Thomas dude is happening. They find out that a college student was caught fleeing from the scene of a burglary, and that when cornered, this guy had pulled a gun on police.
Oh. And
at this time, this Thomas dude had recanted his confession and police let him go. So they're like, this other guy must be our guy. So let's talk about this guy. 17-year-old William Hirons.
17?
Yeah. 17. Ugh. William Hirons is born, he was born in November of 1928, grew up in Lincolnwood, which is a suburb of Chicago. He's the son of poor immigrants from Luxembourg, and his parents argued constantly when he was a kid, which made him just leave the fucking house and wander around town. And eventually he started committing petty crimes like burglary just for fun. He said just to release tension, he would break into houses and steal shit.
To release tension.
Yeah, it's like, all right, bro. But
I mean, have you ever heard of baseball or making a friend?
by 13 years of age, he's arrested for carrying a loaded gun, which he had stolen from a fucking...
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's on a bad path.
That's very Bugsy Malone.
It is. A search of his house they discover a number of stolen weapons in an old storage shed, along with furs, suits, cameras, radios, and jewelries he had stolen. He admitted to 11 burglaries and was sent to school for wayward boys for several months. But here's the thing. He never sold anything. He never stole for money. It was almost just like he was bored and wanted to see what he could get away with and do.
Yeah, it's the thrill of it.
Yeah, and he was poor. But he still didn't like sell the camera on the street or anything like that. I think he still stole money, but it didn't seem like that was his intent.
So he wasn't a cat burglar. He was like a weird break-in peeping Tom maybe type of guy.
Yeah, I don't know about the peeping Tom part, but just
how about a nosy Nelly?
A nosy Nelly kid who just
who wanted to break
bored.
some rules and get up into people's business.
Exactly. So he gets released, and then William Hirons is again arrested for theft and larceny. This time, though, he's sentenced to 3 years at a school operated by Benedictine monks.
Uh-oh.
No, that's what I thought too. It turns out when he's at this school, he fucking flourishes.
Oh.
And it turns out he's smart as fuck. He's an exceptional student, excels in all kinds of crazy fucking subjects that I couldn't do.
Like what, Latin?
Yeah. Electronics? I don't know. At the time, I could probably do those.
Electronics. 1945.
You know. But this wire here and that wire there.
Use the phone. You're now an electronics major.
But he's super fucking smart. His test scores are so high that he gets admitted to University of Chicago's Experimental School for Gifted Students.
Oh.
He's enrolled for a Bachelor of Science, wanting to become an electronics engineer. So he can use the fucking
He loves
phone.
that phone.
Calling people all the time.
Hello, it's me, Richard. Can you believe this shit?
Ahoy hoy.
Saying ahoy hoy in a business-like voice is the best.
Ahoy hoy.
Ahoy hoy, I mean it.
Right. So he starts in the fall of 1945. He was 16 years old at this point, and he started at this fucking school. It's college.
A college.
Yeah.
Smart guy college.
Yeah.
This is a little man Tate situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Congratulations, William Hirons. What happened?
Yeah. Well, here's what happened.
Okay.
He, of course, couldn't afford any of this shit, so he worked several jobs, but he's also like, I'm going to go back to being a serial burglar because it's fun and I can make money. So he keeps doing that. He kind of like lives this crazy double life, but at school he's known as like a good dancer. He's handsome and charming. He goes on dates and shit. Like people are friends with him and love him. He's pretty cute too. You want to see a photo of him? See him when you post a photo of him. That's what some chick was like. There was like
It can't be him.
Well, it was dance club, so like it wasn't like they'd go dancing. It would be like, let's all learn how to like do the Lindy Hop and shit. And like, and this chick was like, everyone wanted to dance with him because he was like charming and a good dancer.
Right.
Which is
Love
like
it. It's the perfect cover.
Right. It's not what we say anymore. Okay.
Now we're like, oh, he rides a motorcycle.
Yeah, exactly. So the afternoon, all right. So So the afternoon that cops are like, maybe this is the guy. It's June 26, 1946. He's 17 years old. He goes to the post office to cash a $1,000 savings bond, which he had purchased with the money from previous burglaries. He had a date that night and he needed money. That's why he was doing this.
He burgles. Then he takes it. He buys bonds.
Yeah.
He invests.
And then he needs the money to take a lady on a date. Which $1,000 for a date. I'm like, fucking take me out, bro.
Where
there he
are you
is.
gonna
Look
go
how
in
cute
Chicago?
he is. Oh. He has your forehead.
He has a 3-head for sure.
No, it's just like a strong dark hairline Karen forehead.
Yes.
Kilgara forehead.
It also, he has very great hair, great eyebrows.
Mm-hmm. Good features.
He looks the first. You're getting text, Steven. I want to read those texts out loud so bad, Steven.
Don't you? Who'd play him?
Rob Riggle. That's the first person I thought of when I looked at that picture.
If Rob Riggle, I feel like he'd have to be a little smaller, but he definitely has. If Italian, shorter Rob Riggle.
You know what we do? Rob Riggle. We do a Dorfon golf thing where Rob Riggle stands on his knees.
Totally.
and then we shoot around it, you know.
We just make it work.
Yeah, we just make, we do a, being John Malkovich, kind of small down the set. He gets on his knees. We're off to the races. Okay. I figured it out. I'll call some people.
Great. I'll be there. Oh, and so he has this $1,000 on him. He's like, fuck, I'm going to bring a gun with me. This is a lot of money. That's why he has a gun on him. Look, this guy,
Listen.
he's making bad decisions. Okay.
Yeah. Consistently.
This isn't, before I fucking tout why he's innocent about other shit, he sucks, and like he's doing some shitty stuff.
Yeah.
Because when he finds out that the bank is closed, he's like, well, I'll just rob a place real quick and get some cash for this date tonight. So like, and you have a gun on you too. You're not the best fucking dude.
Well, yeah, because if you're smart enough to go to college when you're 16 years old and be Mr. Gifted, but you're not, none of those abilities are applying to any other part of your life.
Right. Or like, it's not even about being smart. It's just like, fuck everyone else. I want what I want. I'm going to take it. You know, like you're stealing money from people who probably need that money too, dude.
Well, right. And that's all power moves and stuff where it's like, those break-in people turn into murderers because they don't give a shit.
Exactly.
And they're doing everything. It's like the thrill of it. And it's what I'm interested in. It's what I want to do. It's narcissism.
Like there's part of you that wants to be like, well, you're 17. You're going to like straighten your shit out and be a good person, which I think a lot of people sitting in this loft have done in their lives. Straighten your shit out. At least
Steven.
two of them. Yeah, but, fuck. Okay.
I mean, he's so young.
Right. But, okay, so he goes to burglar a place to get some cash. He goes to a place that had been stolen before, and it's just a few blocks away from the Degnan house apartment. He's caught while trying to grab the money. This chase ensues, blah, blah, blah. He's cornered by the cops, and then he fucking pulls his gun.
On the cops?
Yeah. He doesn't shoot, but it's like, what the fuck are you thinking?
Is he suicide by copping, maybe?
I don't know.
Okay.
He's suicide by being 17 years old. He's suiciding by being a stupid fucking idiot. And then there's like the cops' gun jams or some shit. There's a scuffle. And then it turns into a fucking Laurel and Hardy or like Three Stooges pick. Because another cop grabs a fucking clay flower pot and smashes it over his fucking head. It says 3 of them. Like, takes 3 fucking flower pots and smashes his... It's fucking...
For real?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
That's how he gets stopped from fighting with this cop.
He was stopped by officers Tom and Jerry.
Exactly. Exactly. He goes unconscious. They take him to the hospital. He drifts in and out of conscious. He says that he remembers someone saying that he's a suspect in the Degnan case, and he feels his fingerprints being taken.
Oh.
Okay. They raid his houses and shit where he lives. They find all his stuff from his previous burglaries. I'm calling them burglaries.
A couple burglaries?
They were called burglaries until 1950.
They were just a blur of burglaries.
Oh my God, yes.
Burglaries.
Karen, that was amazing.
Thank you. I'm really trying.
A couple things that are recovered are a scrapbook containing pictures of Nazi officials that he had stolen from a war veteran that was taken when he burglared his place. Yeah. The same night that Susan Dignan was killed. Which I want to fucking know about this dude who had that photo album. Like, what a psychopath.
Or did he liberate some French city Nazi occupied and then grab shit? That happened a lot.
You know what? His name was Harry Gold, so I'm going to guess you're right.
Yes. Harry Gold was on the right
Harry
side,
Gold
I bet you.
Not a Nazi.
Harry Gold's people came through Ellis Island. They're like, why don't we clip that Berg off?
Yeah.
Let's move to Chicago, act as white as we can. Oh, World War II, we have to fight Hitler. Let's go for it.
Let's do it. Okay. Yeah. Harry Gold, I apologize for insinuating you were a Nazi.
Unless
what?
The first Jewish Nazi. He wouldn't be the first.
Who are you going to cast in that? Okay. Also in his possession, in William's shit, is a stolen copy of the Psychopathia Sexualis.
Yes.
From 1886.
Preach it.
It's the one, it's like the psychology of
sexuality.
Sexual psychopaths.
Yes.
Sexual psychopaths.
Yeah.
Right?
You know who's read that book?
Who?
Mr. Stevens.
Oh.
Steven.
Sorry, Steven. He never got past chapter 1.
Sorry, Steven.
He played the 5th. You plead chapter 5th, the 5th chapter. That's what's wrong
And
with
he
him.
just starts reciting everything in the 5th chapter. Well, it turns out
In Latin. In addition, okay, they find that. And then they also find a stolen medical kit. And they're like, oh, is this shit, this dismemberment stuff? But it's like, it's not. He's interrogated. Okay, so then here's what happens. Then William is interrogated around the clock for 6 fucking days. He's beaten by police, refused food or water. He's not allowed to see his parents or a lawyer. He's 17.
Yeah, that's
and they beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, they did.
He's subjected to interrogation for 3 hours under the influence of sodium pentothal, which we know as truth serum, which we also now know is fucking bullshit and doesn't work. While under the truth serum, it's like a psycho, what is it called?
Sexualis.
It's just like that.
It's just like it.
He concocts this person, like an alter ego named George Merman, who's the father.
Ethel's brother.
Merman's brother. Eugene's grandfather.
That's right.
Who it's basically has this alter ego that makes him kill people, whatever, makes it up on truth serum, maybe. And other people or did he make it up? Is he the killer? Is it true?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the fucking media is like, oh, Merman must be short for murder man. And then just go with that. It's just so stupid.
I would have tabled that for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand why you're excited about that idea. Let's keep workshopping.
Sure, not the worst, but
definitely not the worst, and feel great about it.
Go forward with that.
But it's too open. Why aren't you just saying merman like a mermaid?
On the 5th day, he's given
Shit.
no anesthesia, given a spinal tap.
No.
Yep.
No, that's torture. Holy shit.
Then they drive into police headquarters for a polygraph test, which they couldn't do because he was in so much fucking pain. And to this day, they still don't understand we still don't know why they gave him a lumbar puncture. It was for a reason, but it's
they didn't write the reason down.
No.
Fuck. Well, sorry. They did that in a hospital and then drove him to police headquarters.
That's
Jesus
the epidural
Christ.
too, right?
No, it's
no. I'm sorry. Before that,
but it's still
right.
Stuff getting shoved into your spine.
Yeah, they gave him that.
That's okay. I hear that with anesthesia, it's
ladies
painful.
who have had babies, this is the most when they have to fucking shove that shit in your spine.
You don't want a needle in your spine. I mean, I know I can be really controversial, but I'm gonna fucking say it. You don't want a needle.
Karen,
in your spine.
Are you sure you want to leave this
Look,
part in?
just leave it in, Stephen. How dare you?
Oh my god. All right. When the polygraph is administered, results are inconclusive. They're declared inconclusive, although the people, and this is part of him being taken to trial, but later in 1953, the people who had said it was inconclusive published the findings in their book, which I'm sure was just a fascinating read. And they say that his test, quote, clearly establishes him as an innocent person. So people are lying. Handwriting analysis said his writing is the same as the lipstick message and the ransom note. They say that his fingerprints match the fingerprints on the smudge on the door jamb, even though it was a smudged fingerprint. They say that it's his fingerprint. There's also another fingerprint found on the ransom note that they say is his, blah, blah, blah. After being intermittently tortured and held without food, sleep, or access for 5 days, he is finally indicted for assault with intent to kill, robbery, 23 counts of burglary. Jesus Christ.
How's that canned rosé?
I wish I could blame it on that, but I haven't had that much of it. Burglary. And 3 counts of murder. Blah, blah, blah. He's transferred to the county jail, and his lawyer, who's hired for him, is like, no, man, you're guilty. Let's figure this out and keep you out of the fucking chair. That's his plan.
Wow.
He said that all his plan, he thought he was guilty, and that the burglaries alone, he would face life imprisonment. So he's like, let's just keep you out of the chair.
Well, that guy's pretty negative for a defense lawyer. Aren't you supposed to be over the top optimistic and fake it? In
the real world, yes.
Yeah.
So there's a plea bargain, a plea bargain. He's gonna, if he pleads guilty, he'll get a single life sentence. But then he refuses. All this shit happens where he is like, I didn't do this. They're mad at him for saying that. And then finally, he's threatened with death penalty if the case goes to trial.
Wow.
He says later that I confessed to save my life. So he's sentenced ultimately to 3 consecutive life sentences for the murders. And okay, then the handwriting expert recants in early January of the next year, and said that the handwriting on the ransom note and the lipstick message had, quote, few superficial similarities and a great many dissimilarities.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. He's fucking already in prison.
Yeah, too late.
And then some have questioned the legitimacy of the lipstick note completely, saying that, quote, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for a man to pick up a piece of lipstick and write the message with it. Basically, they think a fucking crime reporter went in there and was like, this story's boring, and wrote the lipstick note.
Yeah, but what's boring about a woman getting stabbed and having her wounds taped shut?
That was the first murder.
Oh, the note was on the second murder.
Yeah.
She wasn't boring either, though.
None of this is boring.
It's not boring.
Yeah.
I understand.
I don't think that part's true, but I just don't. And I don't even know if those 2 murders are even connected, the first 2.
But it does make sense because it was the pulp era where it wasn't enough to have a murder.
Yeah.
It was that
sensationalism.
Yes, exactly. You had to have a nickname and you had to term things.
Totally.
And, lipstick on the wall is like, what's more upsetting and crazy? Also, that's stolen straight out of Jack the Ripper.
Oh, right.
Write it on the wall and some weird writing of like, I'm crazy. And also it's the Jews who did it and all that stuff, and make people run in every direction.
Well, it reminds me of the case of the weepy voiced killer. Remember him, who calls and is like, make me stop doing this.
I hate his fucking voice.
It's so annoying.
I was just talking to my friend about that.
Oh my God. Oh, and I'm not your friend? You're talking to me about it right now.
No, I'm telling you that we're talking about it right now.
What if you just informed me when we were talking about shit?
That's my new way of going crazy, where I'm like, we're talking now. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm talking to my brown-haired friend right now.
Go ahead and keep talking about what we're talking about.
Okay, I'm almost done. I swear this is long. And
No, it's good.
And I apologize. Also, they're like, okay, the fingerprint that you guys found on the doorknob, that's a rolled fingerprint. Which I didn't know about this until later. Yep. Explain the move you just did.
I just it's the thing you see in every movie when someone gets booked at the police station and they put your thumb in the black ink and then they roll it across a piece of paper.
Exactly, which a fingerprint expert's like, that's not how you find fingerprints.
Yeah, you don't touch the door by going like,
well, do you know how many times I did this move and when I heard that and was like trying to open a doorknob in the air to be like, would I do that though? But I guess I could do that, but maybe I'd roll it. Whatever.
You can't do it, right?
It's not a thing. It's just like not normal.
Yeah, because you have to grip it. You have to grip it.
Right, so it would just be the top of your fingerprint. Anyways, so William had been eligible for parole.
What's going on?
I don't know. For nearly every year since the 1970s, he's been eligible for parole. The Center for Wrongful Convictions mounted a clemency campaign on the grounds that he had served longer than required and that the evidence used to convict him was unreliable. But nothing worked. He just they wouldn't let him go.
Wow.
Constantly these things kept happening.
Right.
In 2012, when he died, in 1980, nope. Jesus. In 2012, he was 1983 years old.
Got it.
He was 83 years old. He was the longest serving inmate in the Illinois Department of Corrections in 2012. He's the first inmate in Illinois to receive a college degree, and he learned all this crazy shit. He helped all these fucking other inmates with, he helped the fucking library and the school system so we did a lot of good stuff inside.
Is there a school system in the jail?
Now there is, but there wasn't.
There's a grammar school and there's...
Well, he helped them get GEDs. You couldn't do that then. So, because he was the first one to get his college degree.
And he was in there basically as a child, and he was super genius. So he's like, at the very least I can do is help other people.
Right. So
that's a good sign.
Yeah, it is.
That's not what I don't think most psychopaths think that way.
Right. So, all right. So Robert Ressler, our fucking friend, who's the former FBI profiler.
Our fucking friend. Yep.
Meaning we're fans of him. That's what I always mean when I say that.
Yes, he's our fucking friend.
Our fucking friend.
100%.
He's one of us. Robert Ressler, former FBI profile, credited with coining the term serial killer, Mindhunter dude. You guys remember him. So he was a 9-year-old living in Chicago at the time of those murders. And he says, quote, "It changed the innocence of neighborhoods where people had taken for granted that they could have unlocked doors and walk alone at night. And it's those events that inspired him to become a criminologist, the lipstick murders."
Wow.
Yeah. The Suzanne's murder itself became a key element in his landmark theories about serial homicide. And they actually interviewed him. He and FBI profiler John Douglas interviewed him in prison. And John Douglas remains convinced that shoddy evidence management, prosecutorial overreach, and media frenzy led to false accusations with these horrible consequences.
Wow.
And that's the lipstick killer.
That's also, every time I think of that too, there's obviously, like, the idea of going to jail and staying there for the rest of your life is a nightmare, and people live it constantly, and that's horrible. But I also always think somebody fucking got away with it and is sitting out there. They just went to a different town and did it again.
That's what I was trying to look at, is like, are there, like, it's so hard to find info on this, but it's like, are there any, other murders that could be attributed?
What if he just went over to Boston and changed up his MO?
That's what I was thinking too.
Something like that, where that's what I mean, I do love that when things happen, and luckily it's been happening lately, to where we get the satisfaction of, like, they catch the Golden State Killer, and that means they have now solved Visalia ransacker,
right,
East Area rapist, and then all those,
totally,
the original, they were calling it the original Night Stalker. That it's so satisfying that now I think about that all the time. What if they pull up this DNA thing, and then it's just like, because they don't stop. They don't just stop.
No. I can't wait to hear more information about, I'm going out of my mind, which is why I had to stop fucking going on Twitter.
Yes.
Of like, give me more information now.
Yes.
About the Golden State Killer. Like, they know this about him. And there's nothing coming up yet. So
I know.
But I can't wait to know, like, why and what happened after 1986. Oh, it's just crazy.
Yes. What were the jobs? We just want to know everything. It's so crazy.
Well, one of the things that they said that made sense about, when he was like, you had to spend the rest of your life in prison, how awful would that be? But at the time, in 1946, if he did get sent to the electric chair, it would have been a matter of months.
Yes.
So now it's like 18 fucking years of appeals. It wasn't like that then.
Right.
So it's almost better that, at least he had this time to make something of his life, even if it was...
And help other people.
Pretty shitty. He had a chance at getting out. It just never worked out that way. You have to hope that nowadays something would have happened, but to get him out. But
prison reform. It's important.
It is.
It's so crazy.
But then, like, what if he did do it?
Yeah, but I don't think he would have helped people in prison if he did it.
That's not you can't figure that. That's like, he was so nice. I never would have.
It's too late. I already figured it, and it's fact.
But it's the same thing if you're like, he was so nice. I never would have assumed Ted Bundy would have done this. It's the same thing.
You're right. You Bundied me, and you're right.
No way, man. People who are fucking into books and reading and smart and helping other convicts aren't less likely to murder children and women.
But
you want them to be nice, smart people.
Well, but it is that thing of psychopaths only do what's good for them.
Well, what looks good for him is helping other people in prison.
Except for, I guess that's true.
And look how smart he is. How didn't Ted Bundy get off on fucking guys coming and getting legal help from him in prison?
Yeah.
That's how he fucking didn't get beat up and killed.
You've convinced me.
Yes. I love convincing. Oh, hey, look, there's a spider on the ceiling. I just threw my head back in fucking happiness, and there's a legit spider on the ceiling.
I left my glasses downstairs.
Oh my God, Karen, he's coming closer to you.
Yeah.
Tommy John, the 21st century clothing company famous for its no wedgie guarantee, is celebrating 10 years of underwear excellence.
What makes Tommy John unique is the comfort factor. They're committed to providing mind-blowing comfort with quality fabrics and innovative, intuitive designs.
In 10 years, Tommy John has sold over 5 million pairs of underwear.
Tommy John uses proprietary fabrics and innovative designs to make sure the legs never ride up, the waistband never rolls down, and it's impossible to get a wedgie.
Don't believe me? Try them yourself.
Tommy John underwear underwear is backed by the best pair you'll ever wear or its free guarantee. If Tommy John is the most comfortable underwear you've ever worn, Tommy John will pick up the tab.
Join the revolution against uncomfortable undergarments and make the switch to Tommy John.
Tommy John, no adjustment needed.
Hurry to TommyJohn.com/murder for 20% off your first order.
That's TommyJohn.com/murder for 20% off. I say it again, TommyJohn.com/murder.
Goodbye. Madison Reed is revolutionizing the way women color their hair.
For decades, women have had two options, either outdated at-home hair color or the time and expense of a salon.
Amy Errett, the company founder, created Madison Reed because she believes women deserve better than the status quo.
Madison Reed is reinventing the way women color their hair by offering the quality of salon color, the convenience and affordability of at-home hair color, and an ammonia-free formula with ingredients that you can feel good about.
You'll look just like you came from a salon, but the reality is you had more me time to do whatever you love, Karen.
Experience beautiful Georgia multi-dimensional hair color made in Italy, delivered to your door on schedule for under $25.
Join the hundreds of thousands of women who have tried and loved Madison Reed.
Find your perfect shade at madison-reed.com.
Madison Reed would like to honor my favorite murder listeners with 10% off free plus free shipping on their first color kit with promo code MURDER.
That's code MURDER.
Goodbye.
So somebody suggested this on Twitter, and I was positive I was going to write her name down today when I was like, oh, I am going to do that one she suggested.
It's a theme.
And yeah, exactly. And she suggested it in a terse way. So I imagine she's the kind of person that's going to be very pissed off that I took her idea and didn't give her name.
Well,
because
good.
She said, have you guys ever done the blah, blah, blah case? I think you should. It was something like that. It was basically like, come on, get with it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's actually a great idea. Thought I could look her up while we were sitting here, and my Twitter does a thing sometimes where it just won't go back very far. So I couldn't look it up. So full apologies. Hopefully I'll hear from you.
Email Twitter first. Tell them to fix their shit.
Let @Jack know to stop letting Nazis run free on his website, and then that we need to be able to go back a couple days.
Right.
Just for the podcast.
Or like search a word and... okay.
You know what? Also editing. It would just be nice to get one more pass before you send your ideas out. Anyhow, guys, this I am going to do the crime of the century, the kidnapping of the Lindbergh baby.
Girl! I'm applauding you, but I would scare Elvis, who's sitting on me right now.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Also, it's not my applause. It's this girl's whose name I'm not saying. You're amazing. Oh, also, woman, we should be saying woman. Right. We don't know. I actually could be misremembering, and I'm just attributing like a feminine aspect to like whatever picture. Maybe she has long hair. Who knows?
Humans.
That human is going to let us know just how pissed they are about not getting credit for, you know, a case I also can't believe that we haven't done yet.
Yeah.
And as I was doing it, part of me was like, what if George has done this? And I was like, yeah, at this point, I just don't care. I just want to do what I want.
I think that's our new theme is, did she do this?
I mean, let's just start repeating stories and retelling them and just do better each time.
Oh my God.
Less and less corrections corner.
Love it.
And then in like 7 years, we're going to get to that journalistic level people have been wanting us to be at this whole time.
No, we're not.
Never.
And then we'll give up on the podcast.
Yes, then we'll quietly walk away in the night.
Yeah, because you know how quiet we are. We'll walk away.
So I got all this information from an episode of Nova.
Oh, great show.
Fucking God for
PBS.
that. Mwah. Baby, it's like, and you can get an education for free on PBS. And the funniest thing is this episode of Nova featured John Douglas, FBI profiler John Douglas, who you just mentioned. He's the main, basically, they pulled John Douglas all the way through of going, the Lindbergh Baby case and murder was presented in this way, and they got to this conclusion, John Douglas doesn't agree.
John Dougie. That's what we call him. You know.
He's in there with his super reasonable face.
Our friend.
And his glasses, holding his glasses in his teeth. Our friend of the show, John Douglas, solving problems. It's very, very cool. So that's that episode of Nova you can get on iTunes.
Or you can hear it right now.
Or Karen you can hear me retell it word for word. Although it's not an exact I survived word for word steal as I usually do.
Okay.
Because there's a Netflix series called Conspiracy that is good. And they do the thing where it's compilation. So it's like 3 stories in each episode.
So you don't get bored.
What's that?
So you don't get bored.
Yeah, they keep it moving. And this one the episode is disappearances. It's also the other, I can't remember what the third crime is, but the other first crime in that is the Lord Lucan.
Oh, you did that guy.
Disappearance. Yes, I did do that.
I love it.
Loving it. So here we go. Here's a little backstory for you of why anybody cared about Charles Lindbergh in the first place. On May 21st, 1927, a 25-year-old U.S. airmail pilot named Charles Lindbergh touched down in an airfield outside of Paris, France, in his plane, the Spirit of St. Louis. When I read that name, I'm like, oh, that's what that is.
What?
Like, the Spirit of St. Louis?
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you had asked me that, I would have confused it with the Spruce Goose. I would have,
maybe an Amelia Earhart situation.
Exactly.
But at least you know it's a plane.
We know it. Maybe it's a plane, but now we know exactly. That's Charles Lindbergh's wonderful plane that got him. He was the first man to ever make the nonstop flight from New York to Paris. It was 33 and a half hours. It was 3,600 miles.
Is that like in one of those planes that doesn't have a face either, so it's just like wind in your face?
No, a biplane. I'm pretty sure it had a face on it. Although, why would I say that? We're 2 years in. Why would I fucking say that?
Because you're not going to start now with not knowing shit.
My brain shows me movies, and that's reality to me. And I just report to you, yes or no.
My brain shows me movies, and that's reality.
And that's my reality.
I love it.
It was
33 hours. We complain about 4 or 5 hours to New York City.
33 hours and 33 hours alone. And all day, all night.
And all you hear is the whole time.
He couldn't bring a bunch of extra shit.
Steven's on the
Steven's got it.
The plane.
And do you know, thank God, the Spirit of St. Louis is closed in the front. Thank God. Right.
But I bet it's loud as fuck still.
Oh, the whole thing, it looks like a big aluminum can.
No temperature control. No toilet.
No, it was freezing. He was peeing in an old Pepsi bottle. I mean...
Throwing it overboard.
Throwing it overboard for the first time in human history. Okay, so... when he sets down in Paris and he does this thing. So, just to give you a little, did that fucking, God damn it. I cut and pasted it and then lost this piece of information. Okay. But like 6 other people had tried to do this and 3 of them died.
Dude.
So this wasn't a thing. This was not, this was something because there was a prize. It was, these people said, whoever does this first gets $25,000.
Jesus.
So lots of pilots and different people were trying for it, and it's really hard. And some people had to ditch out and whatever, but people lost their lives trying to make this flight. So when Lindbergh landed in this airfield outside of Paris, he was immediately an international superstar.
Shit.
He was the most famous man in the world. He got carried around the people that were waiting at the airstrip.
He never had to walk again.
He never walked again. His feet became curled and atrophied. No, they said they held him. This is on the Wikipedia page. They carried him on their shoulders for over a half an hour.
Jesus. He's like, I've only wanted to touch the ground for the past 30 hours. The first 3 were great. Put me down.
Yeah. He's like, this is the exact position I've been stuck in for 33 hours. All right. So he gets the nickname Lucky Lindy, gets that $25K. He also gets thousands and thousands more for all these promotional fees.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Because
the Pepsi bottle. It's Pepsi company.
Pepsi's like, we want that bottle.
Yeah.
But apparently this really opened up aviation in general, but also for airmail. So he was the guy that kicked it open over like FedEx and everything, where it's like, you want to get something to Europe, we're going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what the whole contest was about.
Okay.
Was to kind of focus on aviation, but then like, opening up so that suddenly people were thinking, business in terms of aviation. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. He was given the Medal of Honor, which is the military's highest award. And he was given, he was Time Magazine's first ever Man of the Year.
Wow.
And still the youngest to this day. He was 25 years old.
So young.
Yeah.
And he was kind of hot, too.
Well, do you know who he looks like?
Who?
Do you mind pulling up a picture of Mr. Charles Lindbergh at age 25 when he made this flight?
Don't tell me until I see it.
Okay.
Who is it?
I'm gonna show you a picture.
Okay.
You're gonna tell me who you think this man looks like. Now, please take your time. I'm just killing time while Stephen finds it.
Was he tall? He looked tall in all his photos.
Yes.
Okay.
He was tall. He was blonde. He had a dent in his chin.
Love it.
His coloring was very like caramel, but with blonde hair, which those people.
I don't care.
Those people
Let's
always
just
win.
Tell me. They always win.
Let me pull up. Oh. It's such an old Man of the Year thing that it's illustrated. That's how long ago this story took place. Come on.
Oh, I'm sorry I did this.
No, it's okay.
Hey.
Because why don't you look at this picture and tell me
Oh, hello, handsome.
who you think this looks like?
Well, I'm going to get this wrong.
No, you're not.
He definitely looks like he's in a Brit pop band from the 60s in this photo, doesn't he?
Yes.
Does he look like, God, he's hot. Tell me.
Paul Holes. Look at the face.
But he does look like Paul Holes.
He does look like Paul Holes.
This is the Holes episode.
Well, let's just work all this Paul Holes stuff out now.
This is the holes upon holes upon holes episode.
Okay, so.
He does look like Paul Holes.
So Lindbergh being the most famous man in the world, and like he's being brought everywhere. He's being feted in this really intense way, and he's making a ton of money.
Good for him.
They said that for everything that kind of he got paid for around that flight, he made like almost $500,000.
Jesus.
In today's money.
Okay.
So, but still,
dude,
a lot of money.
I'll take today's money, $500,000 for fuck's sake.
It's pretty nice. So he gets a financial planner, a financial consultant from J.P. Morgan, so the big company. And it's a big company, did you know? And the planner's name's Dwight Morrow, and he's also the ambassador to Mexico.
What the fuck?
He was, this was when they gave a ton of important jobs to one white guy. It was the 20s. So when Morrow invites Charles Lindbergh to come on a goodwill tour of Mexico because he's famous and everyone loves him. Well, just by chance, Morrow's daughter Anne is down there, and they meet and they fall in love.
Rich people falling in love.
Rich, good-looking people who have their own planes fall in love all the time.
They deserve everything.
They deserve to fly. Okay, he teaches her how to fly.
Oh. I bet he does.
Yeah, girl.
And then he teaches her how to, I don't know. Love.
They get married, immediately start a family. Charles Lindbergh was very vocal and verbal, insulting or criticizing, I should say, other pilots of the day. There was lots of, pilots like it's the Amelia Earhart era where it's like being dashing, being a pilot was a big deal.
He was a trash talker.
He was, because he said that Air Force cadets and pilots of the day, they were all, had facile attitudes about women.
Oh, how dare you.
How dare. Whereas he believed the ideal romance was stable and long-term with a woman with keen intellect, good health, and strong genes.
Oops. Oh, so you're a Nazi.
Good one. Good eye. His, quote, experience in breeding animals on our farm have taught him the importance of good heredity.
Of good breeding. Oh, dear.
Hey, Chuck. No.
No.
It don't work that way. Okay, so that's just a little, that's your foreshadowing.
Okay.
So let's go to the crime. This is 1932. Anne and Charles Lindbergh have been married. And they now have 2 kids, a newborn, and their baby Charlie, their first son, who is 2 years old. On Tuesday, March 1st, 1932, the family's staying at their as yet unfinished new house in Hopewell, New Jersey, or right outside of Hopewell, New Jersey. They only visited this house on the weekends. They were living full time at Anne Morrow's family estate called Inglewood.
Inglewood.
Rich people. Yeah, represent. So no one except for the family would have known that they would have been at this house because they were full-time living at the Inglewood estate, but they would come to the Hopewell house and live there just for the weekend, just for fun of like, this is going to be our new house.
Okay.
There was, of course, full staff at both houses. So sometime between 8 and 10 o'clock on March 1st, one or more, still not sure, kidnappers lean a homemade folding ladder. So it's a ladder that has 3 pieces that like slide into each other. An extending ladder, I guess, but it's homemade. Lean it up against the wall of the house underneath the baby's window. The window's unlocked. The kidnapper breaks in, grabs the 2-year-old. They theorize that they subdued the 2-year-old somehow because no sound was made. Yeah. No one in the house heard anything. Everyone was still awake. So it's not like everyone was asleep and the baby was stolen. Everyone's up and awake downstairs. The baby doesn't make a sound. They go back out down the ladder and off into the night with Charlie. And they leave a letter on the windowsill. So there's another ransom, demanding $50,000 to be dropped off at midnight at a local cemetery on April 2nd. And they warn not to contact the police or they'll kill the baby. So, basically, Charles Lindbergh takes over this case. Now, it seemed to me that what they were kind of insinuating in both of these specials is that Charles Lindbergh really kind of believed he was the shit that the world was saying that he was for making that transcontinental flight.
He was cocky.
The transatlantic flight. Yes. Some people believe he was a narcissist. Whatever. But essentially, once this started happening, he didn't trust anybody. He didn't trust the police. And he basically told everybody how it was going to go. And in doing so, fucked up this investigation that then also some people afterwards kind of theorized maybe he was doing it on purpose.
Oh my God.
So there's suspicion cast. But he basically told the police, like, we're going to make this ransom drop. You will not tail anybody. You will not follow them.
Just do it.
Yeah. But we're going to do it. And so the police said, okay, fine. Just let us organize the money, the cash that you're going to drop. Because what the police wanted to do was, essentially they're using, gold. It was like the gold standard. There used to be bills that were like, it was gold standard money.
Yeah.
And they were beginning to phase it out. But they were like, if we just use only money with these serial numbers, it'll be easier to track if these people try to spend this money after the fact.
Right.
So they put together $50,000. They put it in this wooden box. Now, of course, when the kidnapping happens, it's everywhere. It's the hugest story in the nation and remained so. Of course, it got even worse after, but it's the hugest story. So when they know that there's a kidnapping and there's a ransom note, a retired school teacher named Dr. John Condon, who idolized Charles Lindbergh, puts an ad in the paper saying that he volunteers to be the go-between and make the ransom drop at the cemetery.
No, don't trust him.
Lindbergh and the kidnappers both say, sounds good. So then
what is this world?
You have to see it in the Nova special. The Nova special is really good because it has so much footage. It's so crazy.
I love it.
There's footage from the trial. Like it's intense.
Yeah.
But this old guy, it's just another one of those things where like, it's a guy in a 3-piece suit. So everyone went, yeah, do whatever you want. Come on into this thing. And he is a blowhard. And he, they say he had good intentions, but he made himself, he's one of those people. He was like looking for the spotlight.
Opportunist. Yeah.
So, basically he goes to the cemetery to make that drop, and he hands over a box full, and it's a wooden box full of $50,000 in these special bills, and he exchanges that for a note saying where baby Charlie can be found. The kidnappers take the box of money, they give the note, they disappear, and the information in the note turns out to be incorrect. So it was, all of that was for nothing.
Yeah.
So they still don't have the baby, and the kidnappers have gotten away scot-free.
Yeah.
So, you saw it coming?
Yeah.
So, 6 weeks later, on May 12th, a truck driver driving from Princeton to Hopewell pulls over because he has to use the bathroom. He walks into the woods a little bit.
No.
This is 5 miles away from the Lindbergh's Hopewell estate or home. And this truck driver finds the decomposing body of Charlie Lindbergh. And the police and the coroner and everybody eventually determined the baby was killed the night that he was taken. So it turned out that his skull was fractured on one side, and then there was a hole in the other side of the skull, the opposite side, kind of back by the ear. And so the police report said that the officer that went and tried to get the body, pull the remains out of the mud, had used a stick, and the officer thought he had poked a hole through the skull with the stick. But in this episode of Nova, there's a man named Dr. John Butts, and he's the North Carolina chief medical examiner. John Butts. He's a retired medical examiner, but he's also an expert on the suspicious death in children.
Oh my God. I want to talk to him forever.
Right? And I love when those guys come on and they're just like, nope. And it's basically, he's saying you could not, the way, especially children's skulls are, you couldn't poke. Casually. There's no way to do that. Yeah. And so even if, whether or not this person was just simply mistaken and freaked out, or they were trying to mislead, he believes that the original wound, because the theory became that when the kidnappers were coming back down that ladder.
This story has stuck, this part I know, and it fucking is horrifying.
Yeah. They thought at the time the kidnappers were coming down the ladder with the baby and dropped the baby.
Or fell forward because wasn't one of the ladder rungs broken?
Yeah, this ladder is the ricketiest, dumbest looking thing you've ever seen. Yeah. It's truly like if we went and made our own ladder. I mean, anything's possible with a homemade 3-tiered ladder.
Yeah.
Insane. And when you see this thing, and you can see it in the Nova thing, it's like, it doesn't even make sense. But the problem is, with that theory, the fracture, that only accounts for the fracture on one side.
Right.
And it doesn't include, just the baby had more injuries than that. And I think probably maybe in the hopes of simplifying, but basically they weren't taking into account. And so Dr. John Butts was like, that baby must have been laying down, and there is a blow to one side of the baby's head, which caused the hole by the ear, and the pressure of that caused the fracture on the other side. That's his theory, personally.
Yeah. No buts about it. Is that his TV show?
And then he just goes through and is talking about horrible child deaths.
Everyone's like, wait, I thought this was...
He's like, and this is how it went, and there's no buts about it, and everyone's crying. I don't want to talk about this anymore. 2.5 years after the body is discovered, it's basically goes cold for a little while.
Yeah.
A man in New York State buys 98 cents worth of gas, but he pays with a $10 gold certificate with this old money.
Yeah.
And the attendant cites it and writes down his license plate number, not because he knows it has anything to do with the Lindbergh kidnapping, but he knows that currency is going out of use. And he wants to make sure he writes the license plate number down because he wants to make sure he can get a hold of that guy if the bank doesn't take his money.
What a crazy world to be living in, that certain currency is going out and not going to exist anymore. Can you imagine just living it? It's so old timey.
It is, but it all looks exactly the same. It's the same design as modern money. It just had yellow, gold things on it. I didn't look up what the gold standard was. I didn't. But, you know, if you're interested in currency or the U.S. Mint, I urge you to take a tour and educate yourself. I can't do it all. So the cool thing is then he immediately calls the bank. The bank recognizes that it's on this list of the Lindbergh ransom money, and they call the police. So why do I think I can hold a huge cup of coffee and do this at the same time? So that license plate is tracked back to a car that belongs to a man named Bruno Richard Hauptmann. Hauptmann is a German immigrant carpenter who lives in the Bronx. And when the police search his home, they find a little less than $14,000, which is exactly 2/3 of the ransom money.
No way.
I'm sorry, 1/3 of the ransom money.
Got it. That's what I thought.
Yes.
But
50,000, half is 25. Yeah. 1/3. I wrote 2/3.
Well, the other person has 2/3.
Right. It's the
That's what you meant.
It's the third that's not the 2/3.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm trying to say. So basically he has the money with the serial numbers in his house. He also has a handgun. They're like, it's this guy. Then they look up, he has a criminal record where he's from in Germany. He had 2 arrests, one for climbing up a ladder into the 2nd-story window.
What?
To break into the mayor's house.
Shut your fucking face.
To break into the mayor's house.
Of Germany?
To the whole mayor of Germany. And the other crime was for holding up 2 women who were pushing a baby carriage.
Dude, you're like, it's like a map.
It's a map, and it's like, here's one thing I'm not afraid to do.
Right.
Here's this other thing I'm interested in doing.
Also, I love ladders.
Also, God damn it, I love to make a ladder. Now, on that very topic, if you picture, so this ladder needs to be tall enough to reach a 2nd-story window.
Yeah.
So it's like he made a normal ladder, then he made a slightly smaller ladder that would slide up within that ladder, and then a 3rd one. Like, that's how rickety and janky this ladder was.
I wouldn't claim that thing.
And they find that the 3rd section of this ladder, there's a piece of it that's made from yellow pine. And when they look up into Richard Hauptmann's attic, the floorboards of the attic are made of yellow pine.
Dude.
They pull that shit down, they pull that piece of the ladder off, and they match it exactly. So it's one more piece of like confirming evidence that this guy was there and had something to do with it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Also, the bottom legs of the bottom part of the ladder broke, and that's what led them to that theory that the baby fell and cracked its head.
Okay.
Because the part of the ladder that he left there, the bottom legs were broken.
Okay.
Or had cracked. It's rickety as shit. It's like, why even?
Yeah.
Just get 4 people and climb on their backs. It would be safer. Okay. So all of that combined, gets Richard Hauptmann arrested on September 19th, 1934. And talk about this, like, how it all went so fast back then, and there was but also the world was watching this crime.
Yeah.
I mean, that when that baby was found dead, they said the nation hadn't mourned like that since Lincoln was assassinated, and didn't mourn like that again until JFK was assassinated. Right. It was like, this was everybody's baby, and it was this American hero's child. Yeah,
but we still have it's almost why we have, appeals and shit today, is because you didn't have that back then.
Yeah.
You just fucking killed Ethel and Julius Rosenberg out the fucking bat.
Yes. Their solution to everything was just, okay, great, kill him. We solved it. Now we don't have to do this paperwork
quick kill
anymore.
them before they ask any questions about what happened.
Yes. Quick beat them for 10 hours and then kill them as quickly as possible.
They confessed, kill them.
Quick.
Everything's
kill. Okay. So, he stood trial January 2nd, 1935, and he's found guilty on February 13th of the same year and given the death sentence. Now, at one point, he maintained his innocence throughout the whole time, including when the cops were like, if you give us the names of your co-conspirators, we will reduce your sentence. We'll make sure that you don't get the death penalty. And he he just maintained his innocence and didn't give any names. So on April 3rd, 1936, Bruno Richard Hauptmann is put to death in the electric chair by the state of New Jersey. Yeah. So now there's all kinds of theories, of course, about this murder.
That was it? So the case closed?
Case closed. They got the guy. And you can see in this Nova special, they have clips of him literally on the stand during court, and the lawyer is yelling at him so loudly. Like, there's no microphones, obviously.
Yeah.
It looks like he's just sitting in a chair raised up above everybody, and the lawyer's like, "And do you tell me?" And he's like yelling. The place is packed. It was a total zoo. Like, the
circus,
surrounding area was packed with like thousands of people being at the courthouse every day. It's super crazy. So yeah, they just wanted it over. They were just like done. Yeah. And they were like, oh, he's doing the thing a guilty person would do, which is like, no, I didn't do it the whole time.
And yeah, like even the phrase, the Lindbergh Baby, like that was like, it was a huge story.
It was a huge story, and people wanted someone to pay.
Yeah.
This was like this tragic thing that seemed unnecessary, and they wanted someone to pay.
Got it.
So here's the theories. Of course, the first and strongest is that he didn't act alone. Nobody thinks he acted alone. The liquor. The ladder was too rickety. Somebody needed to hold that stupid thing from the bottom, because it was like the dumbest ladder of all time.
Yeah.
Once he got inside, there's a baby that would make noise. So you have to have, they're going to have to subdue that baby somehow. Yeah. And then they have to get back out and back down the ladder holding it still. Nothing about it just couldn't, they just don't see how it could be done by one person.
Yeah.
And there's just so much organizing and stuff to do. Also, later they do handwriting comparisons. There were 15 overall. The police don't know officially, because Lindbergh was like, you don't get to be a part of this. But there were 15 different ransom letters that were written.
What?
Yeah. They communicated a bunch. And, with the old retired school teacher, Lindbergh, they were masterminding all of it. And at the time, and in court, they proved, the handwriting expert at the time proved that it was Richard Hauptmann's handwriting on all the letters. But of course, modern day, and in this episode of Nova, they're just like, yeah, it is inconclusive. And it's that super cool modern handwriting analysis where they're taking the, like two letters that always get written together, like an E and a T or whatever. And then they're showing how it's like all percentages. It's very scientific and exact of like, this matches, this doesn't. Because of course, in every letter, a couple things match, and then some things don't. So it's all total like percentages and by
and
the numbers.
It depends on what letters are written before and after them, and with where they place in the word.
Right.
I love that shit.
Yeah, it's very cool, and you can kind of see that it doesn't match. From a distance, but they needed it. They needed it to be at the time. So they believe that other people were involved. Also, because of how many things had to go right with a kidnapping like that, they believe that it was somebody that worked on the staff in one of the houses.
Oh, shit.
It was an inside job.
Oh, shit.
And they believe that this is a man named Lloyd Gardner, who's a professor at Rutgers, and this is his theory, and it's a very strong, interesting theory. Strongly interesting. So it's his theory that there was somebody inside the house that was helping set it up, and they're the only other people that would have known that the Lindbergh family would have gone to the Hopewell house, because they were full time at the other house. So that's like very few people would have known to go to the unfinished house that they didn't live in yet.
Right.
The police interviewed a servant who worked at the Inglewood estate named Violet Sharp, and they interviewed her twice. She gave contradictory stories between the first and second one. When they went back for the third interview, she runs upstairs, drinks silver polish, and dies within minutes.
Oh, that sounds chill.
She just immediately commits suicide.
Oh my God.
So then that's very suspicious, right? And it's like, well, something's going on in this household. Okay, so Lloyd Gardner's theory, and then maybe other people's too, and this pulls in some dark shit in Charles Lindbergh's life. so Charles Lindbergh had a sister who died of heart failure, and he was a researcher, he was an inventor, he did a bunch of other shit just besides being in the he was in the Air Force and being a pilot and all that stuff. He did a bunch of other stuff too. He started working with a Nobel Prize winning scientist named Dr. Alexis Carrel. And Dr. Carrel had won the Nobel Prize because he did all this work in vascular surgery. And so Dr. Carrel, Lindbergh went and worked with him as a medical engineer because they were trying to figure out essentially how to build a heart pump to keep people alive if they had heart failure. And that's the work they did. But the work that people didn't know so much about is that Dr. Alexis Carrel was a huge proponent of eugenics.
Oh dear.
And if you don't know, eugenics was this kind of pseudoscientific belief that got very popular in the 30s in America because of this doctor, that that human beings should be breeding to make that basically genetically superior people are the only people that should reproduce.
The master race.
Yes. And that we should sterilize anybody who's physically or mentally imperfect. It was gaining tons of popularity. And Dr. Carrel told Lindbergh he was the perfect example of the Ubermensch, Superman, that eugenics was aiming toward. Which, of course, our boy Charles Lindbergh was like, oh, really? Tell me more. I love this idea that I'm the one everyone should want to be like. And I already was the international superstar.
And then you go to marry JP Morgan's fucking daughter. Like, Jesus Christ.
Master race.
Yeah.
So he becomes this huge proponent of fucking eugenics, which basically becomes a very shrouded, pro-Nazi anti-Semitic movement.
Yeah.
But it just has this super creepy face of like, the American dream is almost how they were trying to market it.
Yeah.
It's super gross. Okay. So the theory is that Charles Lindbergh's first son was not a healthy baby. He had a mild form of rickets. Rickets is the disease in little kids. If they have it bad enough, it basically makes their knees touch and like their legs are bowed and they're really deformed. Charlie's wasn't that bad. So some people argue that this health argument isn't strong enough or like the case can't be made. But the theory is that they wouldn't have, that the family was very secretive about what all these medical problems were. He also didn't have a closed fontanelle, which I love that word because that's what Holly Hunter says in Raising Arizona.
Something about, I swear that you mentioned that just now because there's something about this case that has always reminded me of Raising Arizona, and that they take a ladder and climb up to the fucking second floor and steal a fucking baby.
Yeah. It's kind of exactly it's like the comedy version of this horrible story.
Yeah.
And his little fontanelle.
Yeah. Mind his fontanelle.
I love him so much. Mind his fontanelle.
Mind his fontanelle.
So, okay. So the fontanelle wasn't closed, which is a soft spot on a baby's head, and he was 2 years old.
Okay.
So that's very late for that to be happening.
Okay.
Also, there's a doctor, I think on the Conspiracy show, who was talking about that when the when the remains were found, there were deeper inner organs that were missing. And at the time, I think the medical examiner, they wrote it off as, well, it's exposure and wild animals have gotten to it. And this woman in the Conspiracy one goes, yeah, but you wouldn't be missing, you wouldn't be missing your heart. You wouldn't be missing half of your lung, but not your heart.
Right. You wouldn't they're not going to be like, I'm a big fan of lungs. Yeah, no. I'm going to take this piece and
it's not a pick and choose situation. It doesn't make sense. So they're saying they think this baby had a bunch of surgeries, that there was a lot of things wrong and just nobody knew about it. It was like the secret. And that the plan was, because this was a thing that got done a lot back then, that the plan was, that it was Charles Lindbergh's idea to quote unquote kidnap the baby. Then the baby's missing. And then meanwhile, they can anonymously check that 2-year-old into an institution and basically institutionalize the child so that he doesn't ever the world will never know that his genes are not perfect and he is not this supermensch.
Oh, I did not know this.
Yeah, well, this is a theory, so this isn't obviously proven, and this is
it's true.
Take it up with Nova if you don't like it, but I think it's fascinating because there's nothing about that story that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the mystery of the Lindbergh baby kidnapping is why would you kill a baby if you got the money for it? What monster would just immediately, same night, before anyone gets a chance to pay off anything, just kill the child? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And then keep going with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And also then just that those behaviors are connected. Like if you're into eugenics, there's something going on inside you that is really gross.
Yeah.
And really creepy. And it continued on. So basically after the kidnapping and then the body being found, the public attention and pressure was so great on the Lindbergh family, that they, and apparently in one of these stories, they said that there was another kidnapping threat against their baby John, their new baby. So they were given diplomatic passports and they traveled under assumed names, and they took a boat, like they left in the middle of the night and took a boat to England and ended up going to live with family that they had there in Wales, is where they ended up going to Wales, and then they went out to some island off the coast of France. They were just like tried to get away from everybody. But so they lived in Europe for the next 3 years, but the next 3 years was 35 to 38 in fucking Europe.
Shit.
And the Nazis were coming to power.
Yeah.
And the Nazis had heard all about how much Charles Lindbergh was into eugenics, and they were like, guess what? We're into eugenics too. Why don't you come and take a tour of the fucking factory? So that basically, he came out as a very huge anti-Semite and a big pro-Hitler. Like his whole thing was like, I don't know why Hitler has to be so extreme about everything, but they do have great ideas. He was that guy.
Yeah.
And nobody was
I'm not a Nazi, but
yeah, but I love their ideas, and they're organized or all that bullshit. Okay. So basically, he gets asked to return to the United States to be a consultant for the U.S. Air Force, because I think the military was like, we're about to get into this thing.
Yeah.
At that point, when they come back, he and Anne had 5 children.
Jesus.
And they say over the years, his kids only saw him a couple months a year.
Wow.
That he was really detached, distant father. And then, so none of that explains the kidnapping, and none of that attributes anything. And there's lots of distant fathers that never do shit. But then here's another weird twist. In 2003, these people these German citizens come forward and announce that they were secretly fathered by Charles Lindbergh in the 50s.
What?
7 adult people.
What?
So what happened was, and this turns out to be fucking true.
No way.
That in the late 50s, he goes over to Germany and he starts having an affair. He has an affair with a woman named Brigitte Hesheimer. He has 3 children with Brigitte, and then Brigitte's sister Mariette, who's a painter, he has 2 kids with her sister.
Oh my God.
And then with his private secretary in Europe, he has her name is Valeska. I just have the name Valeska. That he has a son and daughter with her.
Oh my God, dude. Chill
all
out.
7 kids. They're born between 58 and 67. And in 1974, Charles Lindbergh died of lymphoma. And 10 days before his death, he wrote letters to all 3 women begging them not to reveal the secret. And so none of them did.
No.
And the only way they found out was I believe it was Brigitte's daughter. I could be wrong about that, but I believe it was Brigitte's daughter. They all had suspicions because he told them they met him and would see him once a year, maybe twice a year over the years. But he said his name was shit, I won't be able to remember it. I don't have it written down. It was something weird like Carl Kent or something like that. Just a weird fake name. That's the only way they knew their father. But then, did you get it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Carew Kent. Careu.
Make that shit up, man.
It's Carew Kent would show up and be like, "It's me, your dad. Merry Christmas. Bye." So Brigitte daughter finds love letters and photographs, puts it together. They all get their DNA tested, and then they find out it's 7 children that he fathered.
Was busy.
And it goes along with his eugenics thing of I am the one that needs to propagate and have tons of kids. So I'm going to go and have all these affairs and just have kids all over the place.
Yeah, I have to. It's for the fucking greater good.
It's for the greater good of fucking Germany. So I mean, that's just kind of like an interesting, weird, creepy thing where it's just like, who is this person? Who is this mystery man that like the world held up as this great human being because he made a solo flight across the Atlantic? The good part about this horrible story that basically rocked the nation and was the hugest story, like it's all anybody talked about for years and years, is that the day after this baby was kidnapped, Congress passed a law making kidnapping a capital offense.
Wow.
So that's when they put it into effect that if you take a person over state lines.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's a capital offense. And basically that's it was called it then, and although it remains popular at the time, it was the crime of the century.
That's incredible. They never found the other 2/3 people that it could have been.
If you watch this Nova special, there's a guy on there and it reminds me of like a lot of the Black Dahlia stuff where there's a guy on there who's like, my father knew a person and he overheard this conversation and it could have been this guy and it could have been this guy.
Feels like it would have been that someone related to that. The dude, the 1/3 dude.
Yeah.
Brother.
Yes.
Does he have a brother-in-law? It's always the brother-in-law.
Well, because he was this German immigrant, there was other people on this city block that he lived on that were from the same city that he was from in Germany. And so the landlord of this guy who says his father overheard a conversation, that man's landlord was from the same city as Hauptmann. So the theory, it's a very strong theory, but it is just theory, and it kind of goes all over because it's basically this guy's father overheard a conversation where they all talked about they used the word Inglewood and they said the name Bruno and and then there's pictures and whatever, but nothing is conclusive, so I didn't include it.
They never found the other money, right? Like no one ever spent it.
Well, but there's the one guy that they suspected, one of the 2 people that this guy knew and they suspected, took what at the time would have been a $70,000 world cruise.
Holy shit.
With his wife, and there's pictures of him on the cruise. And he came back from Europe after Hauptmann was found guilty. So basically they took a cruise, got the fuck out of Dodge, went around the world on a boat. And then when they heard that they got the guy and they were sending him to the electric chair, they were like, okay, we can come back now.
That was him. I think it was him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's very sinister and definitely unproven. But the idea that he just wanted this not perfect baby out of the house is just so
Or maybe what
dark.
they were going to do is like take the baby out, put him in a facility, something accidentally happened and he died. Maybe they were going to replace him with like a adopted perfect baby that they were going to say was him.
Oh, maybe.
Could
be. I mean, when you see, there's lots of they have lots of home video and these black and white videos of this baby. It's not like this baby looks like anything is wrong.
Yeah.
But I feel like if he was under this pressure to be the perfect human being, and that's the whole theory of eugenics is like perfection, then you can't have a baby that has turned in knees, rickets, that is even in any way developmentally slow.
Maybe the baby that they found that was dead wasn't Charlie. Maybe they put Charlie in a fucking institution, killed some other baby to be like, nope, Charlie's dead, and then they could like have this sick baby that they visit whenever they want.
Maybe.
I think that's it.
You've done it.
I did it. You know what I mean, though?
You've added another twist. Yes. Well, but basically they did it.
Yeah.
That's even darker because then they're killing a baby.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole thing is, it would be nice to have some answers, for
Wouldn't
Christ's
it?
sake.
Let's DNA test that shit. Go on genealogy.
.net.
Test that shit. Right.
Get on there.
Well, fuck. That was great.
Oh, thanks.
I love it.
It was fun. It was fun to watch a TV show and then just write down what they say.
I gotta give that a shot sometime.
I feel like I'm going to get better about not doing that. I remember my friend who had never heard the podcast before. He listened to it and we worked together and we went to work the next day and he goes, "You just retold a TV show?" And I was like, yeah, I do that sometimes. I have his voice in my head when I sit down to do that, but
that's all I want to do.
We've been quite busy.
Listen, look and listen
to us.
Always.
What's your fucking hooray this week, Georgia?
I have two.
Yeah.
One of them is that I took Twitter off of my phone.
Well, fucking hooray for you.
Thank you. It didn't even cross my mind that was an option. Like, I was like, I just can't stop looking and scrolling and seeing this news and bad news. And then when it's just like dumb news, like shit about Kanye, I get angry.
Yeah.
Like, and then it was like, someone wrote like, "I'm taking Twitter off my phone." And I was like, oh my God. I didn't even realize that was an option. So I did it and I'm having withdrawals, but I think it's for the best. And then
you're missing some quality content from me because I'm procrastinating so much. All I can do is tweet because I'm like sitting there supposed to be turning something in.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, but I have this good idea.
Okay. Let me know if anything good comes out. Let me know if there's any quality Golden State Killer updates.
I will for sure.
That's the only place I was getting updates from.
Okay.
But then I couldn't stop checking.
Okay.
My other one is the TV show Barry.
Oh,
that
yeah.
I'm enjoying so much. It's so good. It's what's his name?
Barry.
Bill Hader. Barry. Bill Hader. It's so good.
Yeah.
And charming and funny and dark. I love it. Bill Hader plays a hitman who has to pretend he's not a hitman. He pretends he's an actor in LA. And I wanted to say it earlier, but it's basically every conversation we overhear. It's like,
yes.
It's this TV show in that. It's so fucking funny.
Yeah. I liked it. I've only seen the first two, but I loved it. And there's so many good. Henry Winkler, God bless his soul.
Is so great in that. You know, I went to camp with his daughter. She was in we were in a cabin.
Was she nice?
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone wanted to be friends with her because she was the Fonz's daughter.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
She was nice. I think she's like a preschool teacher now or something lovely. And you're just like,
I'm sure I've already bragged to you, but we when we worked on Hollywood Squares, when we wrote for Ellen, we were just like two writers that came with her, and he was the EP. And when you do stuff like that of like bring your own writers, there are people who are hired to write for that show that do not like it.
Yeah.
Because like, who the fuck are you to come in and but everyone was super nice to us, but I was always just like so uncomfortable. And Henry Winkler came and was like, "Are the Karens in here?" And he acted like he did the exact opposite of that. Like he basically came and like pretended like we were special. And I just remember looking at him like, you A, did not have to do this.
Yeah.
B, no one ever does this. And C, it's like he's the mayor of Hollywood. Like he knows how beloved he is.
You know what's so funny is I remember as like a fifth grader, after when camp was over and we all got taken back to the meeting where the parents would pick everyone up, like after 2 weeks of being away, all crying. And then she was like, "Come meet my dad." Oh. And I look up and I'm like, Henry Winkler. And he shook my hand and looked down at me. "Nice to meet you." Like he was so nice.
Yes. And he's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
He's
so good in the show.
The part's written perfectly for him, but like that intense acting, he's just so good.
He's ridiculous. Yeah. It's a really good show.
Yeah.
Okay. What's yours?
Well, I have to say mine is, I tweeted about this, but I was watching, my friend Bridget told me to watch A Chef's Table Pastry, which is a new season.
Right.
And I think it's slightly shorter than their normal ones. It seems like a little specialty one they put out. And there's 5. The third or fourth one is this guy in Spain named Jordi Roca. And he has been named the top pastry chef in the world a bunch of times.
Does he make those beautiful, they look like apples or pears, and they're like glistening and gorgeous.
And then they crack open and there's stuff inside.
And there's like meringue and shit inside.
Yes.
I follow him on Instagram.
Oh, like he's super beautiful.
Yeah, but I don't know. I didn't see him, but his pastries are gorgeous.
No, it's art. It doesn't seem like a dessert in any, it doesn't look like you're supposed to eat it at all.
Yeah.
And the first one, so he's
super hot.
He's just, it's a thing I have.
Yeah.
He's very, swarthy with a big patrician nose, and but very soft eyes. Mm-hmm. And he talks about, so his older brothers own the restaurant. His one older brother's a sommelier. His older brother's the head chef. It's this Michelin. It was a 1-star Michelin rated restaurant already. And they tried to get him to work there. He's 12 years younger than them.
Oh my God.
So they were like, you have to come and be the waiter. Well, he was like a party guy, and he was just like, whatever, I don't care. And he never really like caught on. And then he finally asked to get moved into the kitchen because the waiters worked so late and worked so hard, he didn't want to do it. Yeah. So he's like, I'll be in the kitchen. And he was just kind of like messing around the kitchen, kind of sucking. And then he got moved into the pastry section because they had this, I'm not going to be able to remember his name, but like really world famous pastry chef who was like, here, have him be in my department. Then he's not being like hounded by his brothers all the time like he always is. And he can come and I'll teach him how to do pastry. Well, then, and they show this thing he makes. It's called the city that this restaurant in is like, it's called, I'll never remember how to say it, but it's like, I thought we were in Italy. The first 2 times I watched it, I assumed we were in Italy because it all looked like Italy and felt like Italy, but it's Spain. And say it's Genoa or something like that. Mm-hmm. And the first thing they show that he made is called the Flowers of Genoa. And he takes this strip of what looks like fruit roll up, and he cuts it out. It's the skyline of their city. And then he makes it's 3D. So he's having part of it stand up, but then he paints the plate underneath so that when you look at it, it looks like this 3D trick of the eye where there's flowers. There's these little things. You have to see it. When I was watching it, they do the thing where they show him making it, and then it just says Flowers of Genoa or whatever the name of the city is. And I, on the couch, went, oh my God, like it's that incredible looking. And then he's talking in it about how his brother, he had a really big nose growing up, and his brothers would always make the joke of like calling him, and then he would turn his head and everyone would duck. And it's all this, the man is beautiful. Yeah. And you can tell he doesn't know that or understand it. And it's that thing you just go like, that's how it is with everybody. Everybody thinks these horrible things about themselves because of their asshole bullies and siblings or whatever. And he's like this magical artist. So his desserts basically made this restaurant go from like a 1-star Michelin, which is a huge accomplishment anyway, to a 3-star Michelin rated restaurant where it's just incredible. I'm telling you the whole episode and I don't need to.
No, I love it. I'm going to watch it.
I've had a ton of coffee. I just love him. I love like the idea that he didn't even know that that's what he wanted to do, or that it wasn't like he was trained for it like all his life. Yeah. He like discovered it and is so good at it.
I love it.
I love it.
I'm going to watch it.
I love him. Also, he whispers the whole time, which is kind of my jam. Anyway, A Chef's Table is always, it's just one of the best made television shows there is.
Okay, I'm going to watch it.
Okay. Yay, that's it, right?
Fucking hooray. Go to myfavoritemurder.com for whatever, I don't know, if you need something.
For your needs. And if you want to follow along with us as we go on our European tour, join the fan club cult. Join that fan cult because we're going to start giving you that content that we promised of, special shit that you only get in the fan cult.
That's right. Thanks for listening.
And stay sexy.
And don't get murdered.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Elvis, you want cookie?
Nice.
Bye. Bye.